All right, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Hey, Armin, good morning. How are you?
Great to see you. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you again for doing this.
Not at
Always
all.
appreciated. I love your
Yes.
Asian recipes you're doing now. You know, yeah, I love it. I love this transition to doing that stuff like you had mentioned. So
Yeah, they are just the endless possibilities to
Yeah.
cook so much food. You can
You know-
spend one lifetime in one country and
Right?
just cook one food and never leave. You can go to Italy and cook Italian style food
Right.
and do an entire lifetime doing that. That's
Yeah.
what's so wonderful about cooking food.
My best man, my wedding is Korean, and so I grew up with him, and I grew up eating mandu. He grew up eating chorovat. It was like, you know, who you grew up eating like royalty. But you have like this variety of foods from around the world. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, welcome Armin, and Brian, and Donna so far.
Good morning,
Hello.
dear.
Morning. For those of you who may not know Donna, Donna's my sweetheart.
We get to meet Donna.
Yes, so
Hi.
she's the scientist in the family that we have often had very heated debates over the molecular structure of food. So
Looks like I just saw a glimpse of the stare you get, Harry.
yes,
Okay.
I got the evil eye from
Right.
her. You've seen her on the world's most detailed pork butt video called the pork butt flour trim, where Donna painstakingly goes through all the, I don't know, 16, 20 muscles of a pork butt and explains to you in detail what each one does and how it should taste and be cooked. So if you have not seen that video, go check it out. Donna's a sweetheart. She loves to get sciencey on folks. So since I'm kind of a little bit of a science nerd, that's how we get along.
How's it going, Harry?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
William.
Good morning. Hi, good morning.
Hi. And we're gonna have a fun session today talking about the question I get asked the most. I mean, of all the questions I get asked when I'm on the road is basically, what pit should I buy? So and I think for those of you who have already spent money buying pits, that's great. For those of you who haven't plunked down your hard-earned dollars yet, this will be definitely a worthwhile episode to at least understand some of the ins and outs. And it's never an easy question to answer. It's kind of like, you know, you have your kid, right, asking you, Dad, what car should I buy? Oh, well, it depends on many factors.
I've used so many, it's getting to be the point where I've stuck with one all these years, and Just don't
Yeah,
go too. Just make sure you buy the quality one and you get the support. I mean, when the parts break, you just want to be able to get parts quickly too.
well, that's definitely one criteria. But if you just have flown to vacation at an Airbnb
Oh,
and you need something quick to haul to the beach so you can cook something and toss it after that, then your needs will be a little bit different.
True.
So, we'll chat about all of the dimensions of rainbow that go around picking something that works for you. So, let's see, quite a few folks that joined. I have Winnie, David. Let's see here. Of course, Ted and everybody. I don't have the enterprise version, so I cannot see all the. Let me see. I can line up participants in another view here. Nope. Yeah. And what we have enterprise version, so that one has more capabilities, but this one I have to scroll manually. Let's see. Frank's on. He's showing his car. Okay. So is anybody cooking this morning? Oh, I'm the only person cooking. Looks like. Oh, Donna's cooking. Oh, okay. So Donna, you can unmute and tell us what you're cooking this morning.
I'm doing something very boring. I'm making breakfast.
Okay. Well, what's for breakfast, dear?
A modified number 2.
Oh, a modified McDonald's number 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donna and I have this tradition whenever we compete in a barbecue contest. You sometimes you drive out either Friday or Saturday, and we always seem to always swing by McDonald's to pick up a cup of coffee and McDonald's number 2, which is what is it? A McMuffin? Is it McMuffin with egg?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a McMuffin with egg. So that's something that it seems like a tradition. Oh, you got it on a muffin. Okay, here you go. There's a bagel.
Well, it's a very, very small muffin. It's a batch of bagels.
Okay, all right.
Miss Fong, Art, is your dad the one that used to own Don's Meats on Foothill Boulevard in Oakland?
On Bancroft.
Yeah,
86 on Bancroft. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's that?
My name is William Fong. I think your dad and I or my grandfather were cousins. That's why they're from a village. I think they're from a village called Ho Chung in China.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Wow, it's a small world. One of my patrons, Bill Fong, is a longtime patron. You're related to Donna.
Been there. We went to the
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Soo.
And who
Donna Fong.
is that?
Donna.
Is that?
Oh no.
Uh-oh, somebody's banging away in the background here. All right, well, why don't you just open up the call and then have everybody drop in and say hello and tell us kind of how your Sunday is going and whether you want to cook along and any burning questions that you want to know about the pit, and we can, cook and dive into it. And I'll show you what I'm cooking. I'm making an ancho chipotle tri-tip.
Oh, great. I always wanted to see you do a tri-tip. That's great.
All right. Let me run outside here. Everybody keep talking and say hello.
Okay, I guess I'll start. Good morning, everybody. My name is Winnie. I'm from California, or Orange County, California.
Nice weather out there probably today.
Yeah, it's not too bad. A little bit of overcast.
Great. Let's just hope that this weather will give us more blessings to get rid of this bad karma we've been having this past year. Oh boy, it's been a challenge.
Yep.
Well, welcome, Winnie. Good to see you again.
You too.
How's your pop-up restaurant?
It's doing really well. I actually next week I'm getting my 500-gallon offset smoker.
Wonderful.
So I've scaled beyond my 2 Traegers. So finally, taking the next step. And then eventually one day, I hope I can open a restaurant.
Who did you buy the 500-gallon from?
SG Metalworks in Rialto.
Okay. Are they the one who made the ones for Heritage Barbecue?
He made the first one, the trailer. And the one that made the 2,000-gallon is Harper. And I contacted him and he said he basically was really busy. And also I believe his price was a lot higher.
Okay. Well, what is the going rate for a 500-gallon nowadays?
So mine is on a double axle trailer with counterweights. I've got the little, what is it called? Like a vent in the firebox. I've got the collapsible stack, custom color, Santa Maria, and a storage box with a tabletop. So that was about 15,000.
Wow. You should send a picture out to everybody. I'll share with all the patrons.
Sure.
We all live vicariously through you, Winnie. We all love to have it offset, and maybe we should do a session one day where I'll come over to your place and maintain social distancing, and you can show off your new $15,000 rig, man. What color is it?
So I chose for the smoker, I chose like a black oil, and then for the trailer, I chose a copper.
Oh, copper. Wow. That's
Yeah.
a cool color, like a bronzy color.
Yeah, kind of like a bronzy, because I was thinking I don't want gold and I don't want orange. So I picked copper, like a rose gold copper, just kind of like a little feminine touch,
Oh, wow. You want a feminine looking rig, right? So that's cool.
Well, if it's really feminine, it would have been pink, but I figured that, if I do quit this, it would be hard to sell. But didn't want it to be too in your face, like I'm a woman and I'm barbecuing. So I wanted just a small touch of femininity.
All right. So for those patrons who don't know who Winnie is, Winnie, why don't you just tell everybody about what you started? This crazy woman.
So in the middle of the pandemic, I started a small barbecue business. I started with 1 brisket on my Vision grills, and then started with 2. And then I realized I can't sell more than 2. So I went and bought 2 Traegers, a 32-inch. And so I was selling 6. And then I would do Harry's hack and, like hold it, put it in the oven and then do the ribs, So I was able to sell probably 200 plus pounds with the 2 Traegers. And then I would do pop-ups at breweries. And then I would do pre-orders for pickup almost every weekend. And now it's just beginning to be a pain because I can't cook more than the 2 Traegers can hold. So the name of my business is called Smoke Queen BBQ, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook, just Smoke Queen BBQ. I come from a restaurant background, so my restaurants were closed during the pandemic, and they're actually still closed because we're right by Disneyland, and Disneyland is only beginning to start to open. But business is not going to be the same as it used to be. So I figured, I was tired of waiting at home and just waiting for news to come. So I just did something about it. I loved to smoke. So it was kind of challenging, and it kept me focused and, off of the grim current events. So yeah. And it's just snowballed. So it's, just getting started, I guess.
Whoever's lazy, you want some great cue, go see Winnie. You want to share your Instagram? Why don't you do is send it to me and I'll forward to all the patrons, right?
Okay.
Give your business a boost here. We all need to help our local businesses. Everybody is really suffering from the pandemic. So eat local, visit your local businesses, and help them out. It's very important.
Stay away from drive-throughs because they're making a lot. I have friends in the drive-through business, like a Carl's Jr.'s and Burger King. And their sales are up like 20%, and they got the PPP loan as well.
Wow.
So it kind of sucks because that money, the future us are all paying for, and it's for those who really need the help. But those drive-throughs, they're making a killing.
See, there you go. So support your local business, and then get some barbecue from Winnie. If you're too lazy to cook, or you don't want to follow my easy recipe, just order from Winnie. You sell them by the pound, right? Like Texas style.
Yes, I do it every Saturday, and I have 3 local pickup locations. But yesterday was the last day because the next couple of weeks I'm taking it off. But this Sunday, a week from today, I'm having a pop-up at Noble Ale House, which is in Anaheim. I'm doing pastrami since St. Patty's is coming up. So, yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Okay. Anybody else want to say hello before we start cooking? My fire is raging here. I'm warming myself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Fong. I'm in Fremont, California, and it's a beautiful day today, and it's nice and sunny. It's about 48 degrees this morning also.
Nice.
All right. So if you guys can unmute and say something, or after you finish saying, just mute yourself. That's great.
Hello, Marco Romero, Irwindale, California. And I'm
Right.
cooking up a rib right now on my insulated cabinet smoker.
Oh, what kind is it?
It's a Lone Star Grills insulated cabinet smoker.
Nice. I see the picture of it. Looks fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Hey, this is Brian Capon. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida. So just joined last week. So looking forward to learning more. And today got a pork butt on my RegTech pellet smoker, and then also going to throw on a whole chicken on my Weber Smokey Mountain as I'm traveling this week for work. So that'll be dinner for the wife and kid while I'm out of town.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Andrew Isawa from cloudy Hawaii.
Oh, cloudy Hawaii. Which island?
Oahu.
Oahu. Wow. We need to come visit you, man. Cook some pig and eat some,
How's it, Andrew? How you doing?
local moco. Eat
Oh,
some of
good,
my favorite
good.
local moco, man.
My hometown,
Oh yeah? From where?
Yeah. Kalihi.
Oh, okay. I'm in Pro City.
I lived on Liliha Street.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, right by the bakery?
down by Times Market.
Oh, okay, nice, nice.
Hope everything gets better down there, though.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's slowly coming back.
All right.
They're opening up slowly now, so yeah.
Great.
As you introduce yourself, if you're looking what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to show you guys a very quick planking tri-tip. So planking is a technique of cooking on planks. So don't spend a lot of money at those expensive hoity-toity stores. Just buy these planks from Home Depot. And these are called shims. And it's really very inexpensive to get a pack of them. So while you guys are talking, I'm going to heat up my planks. So I'm going to heat up the first side. We're going to put the tri-tip on the meat shortly. So keep going with the intros while I start smoking my wood here.
Harry, did you soak that in water first?
Yeah, just soak maybe about half an hour. Don't have to soak
Okay.
long because I want it to actually burn.
Okay.
So I'm getting a little smoke now. You can see here. So the technique is just to get it a little bit of the smoke, and then we'll flip it over and put the meat right onto the smoke and give it a smoke so we can get the temperature to be about 110 before we sear it.
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Armin. I'm from Glendale, California, and doing a little short rib tomorrow. Smoked short rib.
Smoke, sorry. Season or non-season?
Like
marinated, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, just salt and pepper. Just salt and
Salt and
pepper
pepper.
straight. Yeah.
Okay. All right, just to show you guys what we did over here. So I did a tri-tip here. And this is how we do it commercially. Obviously, if you want to make a tri-tip ancho paste, you can make the paste, but the pros, we use this product here called Miners. And Miners will allow you to cut your food costs. You don't have to pay somebody to make all the chili. You just get a tub of this. My co-packer actually sells this out of Cleveland. So if you are interested in getting these kinds of paste, they make many, many dozens of bases. And these bases will allow you to supercharge flavors very, very quickly and allow you to get things done in a restaurant setting or home setting. And you can make your own ancho chile paste. You can rehydrate dried chilies in water, put it in a puree, but that is actually too much work. So in a commercial setting or home setting, this is a lot faster and you can get kind of things done.
Harry, is that a Restaurant Depot kind of purchase, or is it?
Yeah, you can go to
available
Restaurant Depot and get the same thing. Restaurant Depot sells these bases. So in a commercial setting, a lot of times it's a lot easier if you just do this. And you just smear the paste on, put some barbecue rub, any kind you like, and then lots and lots of garlic because it's tri-tip. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing onto the wood now. Got a bit of a char on the wood. And get this.
How many pounds is that tri-tip today?
I would say this is probably something like 2 pounds.
Okay.
Each.
Oh, Mr. Beans is going to be happy tonight.
He's going to he'll enjoy this very much. I'm talking and my fire is getting too hot. Move it a little bit here. This is what happens, right? When you try to talk and cook, right?
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Tom Sykes. I live in Bowie, Maryland, which is about 18 miles outside of DC. Harry, I cooked up yesterday. I did some beef tenderloin, some steaks, and I used that Knorr concentrate, the beef concentrate. I got to tell you, it came out delicious.
All right, that's a game changer, right?
Really did. I used some of your moolah beef on top of that, and it was excellent. And today we're going to be grilling on a flat top. I'm going to do some salmon on the flat top, along with some sliced potatoes and some shrimp.
Wonderful. All right, just to very quickly, so you see how I did a direct indirect cooking, right? All I did was I moved my wings to the side, have my wood there. I charred the planks a little bit so I can get a nice start on the smoke here. So not rocket science. Make sure your vent is right in the middle of the two wings so that you have a convection current and then the air exhausts out through the middle and get a little bit of a smoke. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Who wants to talk next? Thomas, you're on mute.
I'm David. I'm from the central San Joaquin Valley of California. And today I got some a duck that's dry brining in the fridge right now on a cooling rack. And I'm going to do it on a rotisserie on my Kamado Joe. So can't wait to try that out.
All right, excellent.
So it's gonna be fun.
Any particular style of preparation?
No. I saw some sauce I add on it. It's gonna be over potatoes. So I guess it's gonna be, I don't know what kind of style it is. I forgot. So I just came across a recipe. I'm like, it's pretty simple and easy, and like, might as well try it. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, anyone else want to say hello before we talk about the things that you need to think about when you buy a pit? Oh, I'll let Winnie talk and she can talk all about her offset smoker.
I guess it just depends on what you want to cook and how much you want to cook, right? The
Yes,
capacity.
the capacity is number 4. So I'll kind of talk you guys through the email I sent out earlier about some of the factors. As I mentioned to you, because I am a pitmaster, I always get asked what. Oh, hi, hello, hi.
Say
This is
hi.
your daughter?
Hi. Yeah, my daughter.
What's your name?
Hi. What's your name? Say, what is your name? What is your name, Mila? Tell them what's your name. Mila. Hi, I'm Mila.
Mila, hi. Oh,
Do you like to eat mommy's barbecue? Uh-huh.
She loves meat.
She's your promo person, right? So she
Oh,
can
yes.
go and promote on your Instagram channel and let everybody
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Yes,
So-
definitely.
Wonderful. So I sent an email earlier, and I listed some of the common responses that I give when somebody asks me at a party. The most common questions that I get. So I get it so often that I actually have a standard response is yes, about $150, and yes, and yes. So that's the response to the 3 common questions. Like, is there such thing as a best pit? The answer is yes. And how much do you need to spend? 150. Now, 150 could be $150, or it could be $150,000, right? So it's really up to you. We have friends that have not only expensive pits, but they have a $500,000 RV to tow the trailer that tows the pit. So, barbecue perfection comes in many shapes and sizes. So whatever shape and size you want, it's all good. And then the next question I always get is, should I buy a grill or buy a smoker? My answer is yes and yes. They both work differently, and I'll kind of get into some of the details as to why. So like I said, when you approach somebody and you ask them about the gear, or people who talk a lot about the equipment itself, you have to realize that, for some reason I'm on Bill. Bill, you're on. Can you mute, please? Okay, cool. So people often get, as I mentioned before, GAS. GAS stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome. And since I'm on YouTube and social media and Patreons, people always kind of spend a lot of time talking about the equipment. And it's sort of like gear acquisition syndrome means that the equipment is more important than the cooking. So it's like I mentioned to you, it's like going to a Pulitzer Prize winning writer and says, what's the secret to your fantastic writing? What kind of keyboard do you have? I need to buy the same keyboard as you do so I can write as well as you do. Or ask the question, what kind of golf clubs does Tiger Woods use? If I buy those golf clubs, then I'm going to be able to swing like Tiger Woods. You guys know, watching my channel, that barbecue is always about the pitmaster, never the pit. But the pit is very important, and the way you buy a pit is you want to have a few things to consider, and everyone is different. Just like I mentioned earlier, if your kid asks you, mom, dad, what kind of car should I buy? Well, it kind of depends. And it depends on many, many factors, whether you want to get a jalopy, or you want to get a sports car, you want to get a convertible, you want to get a minivan. So I'm going to run through some of the items that I sent to you guys out earlier about some of the factors that to consider. Not every factor is important to everyone, but if you are looking for a pit, the first thing that you always need to think about is your moolah or money, because the budget can be as low as $30, $40 for a Smoky Joe, which works, to a kettle for $150. You can go to the WSM range for about $300 to $400. You can go past that into other areas. Pellet grills start at around $500. They go to about $2,000. And then you can go to those custom built gravity fed smokers. You can go to drums, UDSs. You can go to pit barrels. You can go to PKs. You can go to $2,000 range with like things like pits and spits, built like a tank. You can go to a hasty bake, $2,000. And then beyond that, you can go to offset, and then the sky's the limit. Donna and I, who's on this call, we had a chance to visit David Close. He's the world famous pit maker from Houston, Texas, and he can make you a pit for $500,000. So it kind of depends on what scale you want, how much food you want to cook, and how much money you're willing to spend. But in general rule is I always tell people that if you are just starting out, buy yourself a Weber kettle for $150, $200 and start there, because that will allow you to build the basics of how to cook food. So any questions on budget? Cool. So let's move to the second requirement of parameter or factor is your skill level. So like Winnie on this call, she runs an offset. So for those of you who are really into the zen of putting in a log every 40 minutes, staying up all night long, burning logs, and you are highly skilled in controlling the airflow in your pit, controlling pit temps, knowing how to rotate meat, how to draft the pit, how to rotate your logs, how to pick the right kind of log, split logs. So it kind of depends on your skill level. So the easiest pit out there is a pellet cooker. So essentially you press a button on and you press a button off, and nowadays you don't even have to press it, you just do it on your phone. and some systems, you can even download the program from the website, stick the probe into your meat, and the program will do the cooking. So it kind of depends on the extreme end of the scale. You have people who actually start the fire. You've seen my videos on Tootsie Tomanes, Snow's Barbecue. In Texas, what they do is they have a burn barrel. They burn the post oak down to embers, and then they manually stick a shovel in it. And then they walk the shovel over to the cooking area, and then they spread the coals underneath these kinds of cement pits where the coals on top, and then there's some bars, and then the meat's on top about maybe 3 feet away. So that is a very laborious way of cooking, but it depends on your skill level and how much skill you need to accomplish great barbecue. The context by which you're cooking is very important. So I'm sitting in my backyard here. So I'm cooking backyard, I'm cooking a tri-tip, and I have one more over there. So when you're cooking at home in a backyard setting, all you need to do is please yourself and please your friends, have lots of adult beverages, have free food, and everybody will say, wow, that's great food. Can I have some more? If you are a competitor, then you have different requirements of a pit, because you're going to have to transport your pit on site. For those of you on this call who are competitors, you're not allowed to use electricity or gas. You have to use some kind of a charcoal or briquette. And you're allowed to use electricity to run a pellet cooker, but you cannot use electricity for heating. If you're running a catering business or you're running a restaurant business, Aaron Franklin cooks 110 briskets a night. So stop and think for a second. Every night he cooks 110 briskets. That is a lot of briskets, right? That is many, many pounds of brisket, thousands of pounds, and a lot of money. So if you have that kind of setting, the pit that you choose to use is very, very important, because when you run a restaurant, for those of you in the restaurant business, they call a prime cost. So prime cost is a cost factor that you need to manage in a restaurant setting. So if you guys like to talk about restaurant type business, let me know. I'll spawn another Zoom session. We'll talk about all the ins and outs of prime costs, variable costs, how to calculate the 67% that you need to be able to make a profit in the restaurant business. But the setting is extremely important in terms of the kinds of equipment that you buy, because in a restaurant setting, you need something that will cook large quantities of food. Winnie decided on a 500 gallon. I guarantee you soon she'll need 1,000 gallons. And then once she's done with 1,000 gallons, she'll say, I need a second 1,000 gallon, which is what happened to my buddy, Danny. Danny owns a Heritage Barbecue in San Juan Capistrano. So if you not had tried his food, please take a trip down to San Juan and check out his food. He puts out really, really great food. And then his presentation is top notch. I think in terms of all the barbecue restaurants I've eaten around the United States and around the world, I've eaten in Paris and so on, Danny has got his presentations nailed down. His plates and platters are absolutely gorgeous. So Winnie, if you want some ideas on how to up your game, go check out some of Danny's presentation. Danny was an executive chef for Whole Foods, so he knows his stuff. So you know how when you go into Whole Foods, everything is absolutely gorgeous behind the counter. That's the kind of presentation you get, when you go to one of his restaurants. I think he's already expanding now to 4 1,000 gallons. So he started with 2, going to 4. Soon he'll be opening a second place. So barbecue seems to be growing, at least in California. So if you are interested in getting to that line of business, go check out some of the other barbecue restaurants out there. So that's the number 3, which is the setting, which is either backyard, comp, catering, or restaurant. Let's jump to number 4. Number 4 is related to number 3 is capacity. So Winnie started with 2 Traegers in her business. Now she's on a 500 gallon. So the capacity is very important. So Winnie, how many briskets can you cook in a 500 now?
I don't know yet because I won't get it till next week. But
Okay.
I think the depth is about 3 feet. I think we can easily do 20 briskets.
All right. I
And,
believe
yeah.
Danny does 24 on a 1,000 gallon.
Oh, 24. Okay, so maybe
because-
12. Mhm.
Yeah, so the airflow is very important. So on a offset, right, drafting the pit is very important. So depending on the pit design, you have a regular offset, right? It's not a reverse flow, right?
Oh, it's regular.
Regular, yeah. So regular means that it's a torpedo-shaped pit. The firebox is on one end, the chimney is on this end. And then if you look at a offset, you will notice that there is a specific dimension in the thermodynamics. The stack is always about 1/3 the length of the cooking chamber. So the stack, right, is the draw. So the draw is usually an 8-inch circumference diameter pipe. And then they have like the Lewis band and so on that will allow the flow to be optimized. So when you have your fire here, the what do you call it? The chimney, which is 1/3 the length, sucks the air through, goes out through the chimney. And that's kind of how the magic of an offset works. That's why folks really love offsets because of the draft. The draft is really fast. So you get a lot of hot, smoky air over the food itself. So Winnie, have you lined up a wood supplier yet?
Everybody seems to be talking about Patty from the woodshed, so I'm going to contact her.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, you go talk to Patty, and Patty's my student, and she and I have collabed a number of times. So the key is make sure that you get the right kind of wood. I think she's selling post oak now, right? So you can get actually post oak, so you can get a kind of mellow post oak flavor. The choice of wood is very important if you cook in offset because I'll run into the topic of fuel in number 11, but for now, the choice of wood is very important and the quality of the wood is also very important. And I'll cover that for a little further down. So capacity is very important. If you're cooking for a family, Weber Smokey Mountain 18 is fine for a family. If you have a lot of people come to your house, you can get the Smoky Mountain 22. If you want to feed even more people, you can move into something a little bit bigger, like a pellet cooker. Like the pits and spit that I have is pretty big. It's got a very large cooking area. And the larger pits are usually about 36 inches. So in terms of the scale, you start at 18, you go to about 22, you go to 26, and then you go to 36. And then beyond that, you have to get into what I call the bigger cabinet kind of smokers or bigger, what we call offset smokers. And I'll talk a little bit about that. You also have to decide if you want your pit to be a manual pit or an electric pit. So electricity means that you need to plug it in a pellet cooker hopper control unit, or you just want to run it manually. You can run, for example, like my Weber Smokey Mountain, I run it manually, and that's fine. Just make sure that your dampers are set properly. You can also add a blower attachment to a Weber Smokey Mountain. You can buy a pellet cooker. A pellet cooker is an electronic cooker, so you need electricity. That's a consideration if you're a competitor, because when you go out and compete in the parking lot, there's no electricity. You got to bring your own portable generator or hook it up to your what you call your cigarette lighter to get electricity. So whether you want an electric operated smoker, it's kind of up to you. At home, they also have these things called electric smokers, where there's a heating element, and then you put wood chips on the heating element, and it heats up the wood, and that creates the BTU. You also create the smoke that creates the magic of barbecue. So you have to decide if you would like a manual smoker, or you want an electric heated smoker, or an electronically controlled pit. So those are some of the things that you can think about. The next one, number 6. Go ahead.
How about this thing called a stoker? I believe some of the competitors used it for the smoke stoker for the Weber Smokey Mountain. What do you think about that?
Yes, you're referring to we call an automated blower system. So
yes,
people like Guru make it, people like Thermoworks make it. Stoker is out of business because John Jackson, who's from San Jose, he retired. He is a former electronics engineer in Silicon Valley. So he built the smokers like 10, 15 years ago, but he's decided he wants to retire. So I have a stoker, it still works, believe it or not. So I'm still scavenging for some spare parts. But there are many, many good automated blower system companies today. Barbecue Guru is one of them, and you can look them up on Amazon and you can see which one you like the best. Those things cost about $300. So you bought a $300 pit and you buy $300 worth of automation on it. You're broaching down into the realm of a pellet cooker. A pellet cooker is around $500. So you got to decide, hey, you know, do I spend $600 on the pit and the automated blower, or do I just go buy myself a pit that already has everything built in? So the choice is yours. As I will mention down here, called number 10, called Tribal Tradition, that is another consideration. So the next thing, number 6, is a big bugaboo of mine called ease of use. Okay, so I know that what Winnie described sounds very romantic. You know, you buy your pit, you got the fire going, you got a zen moment of every 40 minutes loading a log, putting the unlit log on the side of the lit pile, and then after 40 minutes pushing that unlit log onto the top of the pile, putting a fresh log in there, checking your meat, spraying your meat. It's all very, very romantic. But if you do that every day, as Winnie will be doing every weekend, you know, ease of use is something that you have to consider. There are some people who want to put the meat in the pit, stick the probe in there, go to the mall with their phone, and they go to the beach and watch the entire cook. And when they come back from the mall, they want their meal to be ready. So the ease of use spans a big spectrum. And I can tell you my own confession, as I'm getting older, I'm getting lazier. So I don't seem to fire up my Weber Smokey Mountain that much anymore, because I have discovered the magic of the one button pellet cooker. One button off and one button off. I've shown you guys on my videos how to get championship type results, regardless of your pit. So whether you use a Weber kettle, you use a Weber pellet cooker, you use a what do you call something like the charcoal summit, it all works. It's just a matter of your skill level. So I tend to be a little bit agnostic in terms of equipment, because you can pretty much make all equipment work. I know other folks out there who have a shovel and some chicken wire and some wood, they can outcook me with the whole ground. So the equipment isn't really that crucial. Okay. Now, the weight is very important, because obviously if you have a very heavy smoker and you have a patio, you live in an apartment, you know, it's maybe not take the weight. How you're going to move that piece of equipment around is also important. You guys know that on the competition circuit, I use the Weber Smokey Mountain 18 because it's portable. I can lift it myself. A 22 is just too big and too heavy. So the weight of the pit is very important. Winnie bought a 500-gallon. So I don't know, Winnie, how heavy is the 500-gallon offset?
So it should be about 3,000 pounds.
Okay, and how many pounds are you?
But the 500-gallon is still not big enough to hold my drink. So that's what I keep on saying.
Okay.
But you know, I have help me, Harry. So I have a team to everything. Prep.
Okay.
So it's not just me, but yeah. So I think we should be okay.
Yeah, even pushing it around is not easy, right? Even it's on a trailer, 500 pounds is a lot of weight to roll around a trailer.
No.
How are you going to get it to and from the event site?
So I was thinking about buying a truck, but before I do so, I'm just going to start renting it for each event. So I try not to schedule more than 2. So Enterprise rents truck. So I'll just do that for now and see how it goes. Because, you know, I want to manage another vehicle in my driveway and buy insurance and register it.
Yep. So you can see that the costs scale up accordingly, right? So whenever you buy equipment, you got to think about all the other things you need to buy, like the trailer or the truck to tow your big smoker.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll pause here for any questions on the number 7. We're about halfway through the list here. Wait.
Winnie,
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Winnie, are you able to park it in your driveway? That's a big trailer, 3,000 pounds. It's like a almost like a mobile home, basically.
Yeah. Well, I have a big side yard, so I'm gonna park it. And then I kind of live in a private neighborhood, so a lot of neighbors like me. I live on top of the hill, so I'm looking into mine. So I think we should be okay.
Make sure when you park it, you put some chucks underneath these tires because you don't want that thing rolling anywhere. To be honest with you, I do a trailer, so I know about.
Yeah, definitely. Good advice.
A couple of 4x4 should do the job, actually.
Yeah.
Basically, when you got it cooking, you don't want it moving.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, so moving along the list here, let's talk about number 8. Number 8 is portability, right? So portability is, like Winnie has it on a trailer. If you don't have it on a trailer, it's going to be hard to, haul a offset around. If you have something like a Weber Smokey Mountain, like I said, I use the 18 because the 18 fits in my minivan. I can cram 2 18s in the minivan. When Donna and I travel, we actually take our little WSM sometimes along our vacations even. I think we're gonna try to go and hang out in Hawaii in the coming months once the pandemic kind of calms down. And we're gonna take the 14 with us as our little mascot. So portability is very important. For example, like the 14 fits in the Southwest luggage hold. So you can do that. If you have something like a big smoker, you have to decide if you want to get a trailer or get a van. You got to put it in the van and transport it. So these are the considerations. Portability is something that you need to think about. If it's just a backyard setting, no biggie. You can have the equipment delivered and set up in your backyard. I have a lot of smokers. I have 20 smokers here. It's not like this one that showed up here. The nice folks at GMG sent me a Daniel Boone pit here. So I'm gonna give it a new rundown because it has a lot of improved features from the other ones that I have. I have the one from the Jimboe. This is the bigger one here, the 36-inch one. And this one is also cooking. The Weber is also cooking the tri-tip just to make sure that I can get this done in the right temperature. And I got a lot of smokers all around the side of the house. So, and more in the garage. So I'm an addict. I'm a smoker addict. I'm self-admitted. I like equipment, but some of the equipment is easy to carry around. But like for example, like this hasty bake is very heavy. So this is probably, I don't know, this is probably, 300 pounds. So that's something that you can kind of lift on and take to a tailgate. But something like this is the kettle, that would be absolutely fine. So portability is an important thing. The next thing I want to talk about is footprint, right? So like, for example, on this kettle, you can see the footprint. The footprint is a 3-inch, 36-inch circle. That's very, compact. You can cook a lot of food in just a very small footprint. You have to decide how big a footprint you want. If you buy something like an offset, so I want to guess that Winnie's offset 500 gallon is at least 15 feet long, Winnie?
Yeah, I think so. I actually don't, but
yeah, so 15 feet long, and then how many feet wide? At least at least 6, right?
36, yes. The cooking.
36.
Yeah.
No, what I meant is the size of the footprint of the trailer and the pit.
Oh, the trailer is the size of a car ish. So.
Oh, you broke up. Can you say that again?
The trailer is the size of a car, pretty much. Because on the smoker is the prep table / wood box, storage box, and a Santa Maria.
Wow, Santa Maria on top of it. Okay, yeah. So the footprint is huge, right? So you figure it's like a footprint of a car.
Yeah.
All right, so that's something to think about. So depending on how much room you have in your backyard, Like for example, like my home, I just don't have room for an offset. If not, I would have gotten one. So that is a consideration, footprint. Next one is something a little bit controversial called tribal and tradition, right? Which is factor number 10. So some people consider barbecue more than just cooking the meat and the equipment. They have a affinity of the kind of tribe they belong to. So you have people who are known as pellet heads. So pellet heads like to cook on pellets, right? They think that the world is revolves around cooking on pellet cookers. Then you have the UDS. UDS stands for ugly drum smoker or drum smoker in general. And that's a kind of their own tribe, the UDS people. I'm known as the bullet people, the Weber Smokey Mountain people. I like the Weber Smokey Mountain. And then you have different genre. You have the stick burner. So Winnie would be considered a stick burner tribe. They cook on stick burner and they can argue all day long why the offset is a superior pit and all other pits are trash. So there is a lot of tribalism in barbecue. And then you have the people who are Kamado people. And then you also have the sub-tribes within the tribe. So the Kamado people are the ceramic cooker people. And then you have the BGEs. The BGEs are the big green egg people. And the BGE people may say, I'm superior to all Kamado cookers. So if you don't have a BGA, you are nobody, you're trash. So you got to get a BGE. So, in barbecue, as in everything else in life, there's just a lot of discussion and controversy and debate over the tribalism and the traditions. For example, people tell me that, Harry, why are you running a YouTube channel and why are you cooking on pellet cookers? That's cheating, okay? So I always tell them that, hey, if you want to cheat, right, why do you even use your offset? Why don't you dig a hole in the ground, right? Put some, chicken wire and cook meat, because that's how barbecue started. That's why it's called pit barbecue. Because back in the South, that's how they used to cook barbecue. They would dig a hole in the ground, burn a bunch of wood on it. When the wood was down to embers, they would put meat on that hot coals. That's how you cook barbecue. So again, right, it's a 3-hour argument in Jerry Springer fist fight as to the tribal and the traditions in barbecue. But I just want to let you know that whatever tradition you want, right, just follow your heart. Like Marie Kondo, right? How does it make you feel? Okay. So if your pulse quickens and your heart races when you see an offset, then go buy an offset. If you are enamored by something like a TurboQ is the pit that I have that kind of have a spinning rotisserie. If you are in love with that, go get yourself a TurboQ. So again, it's all good. We respect and love you regardless of whatever tradition and tribe you belong to. All right, so that's number 10. Number 11 is the kind of fuel. There's basically 6 kinds of fuel for barbecue. And you can use anything from gas, that's fine. You can use electricity, you can use charcoal. I'm using briquettes here. You can also use wood. You can also use pellets. So, knock yourself out. Some people insist that they want to use only wood. Fine, go see Patty in Woodshed, Shops Gourmet Cooking Wood in Orange County and buy all the wood you want. Patty has at least 30 to 50 kinds of wood. So any kind of wood you want, she has. So cook with wood. If you like briquettes, this is a good one. Jealous Devil Max. They're extra large, so they burn a long time. So you can see the briquettes here. I like this one much better. No ash at all compared to Kingsford. You can also use what do you call something like charcoal. You can use charcoal. You can also use, for example, I have some bicho time here. This charcoal is from Japan, so it also is a kind of a high temperature charcoal, and then of course you can use pellets. For those of you who may not know what pellets are, let me show you what pellets are. That's how they look like. So, and then Jealous Devil also now sells pellets, and the pellets are pretty good. I've been using them for a while now. So if you are interested in checking them out, I think they're starting to sell also pellets. So Jealous Devil. Just full disclosure, they sponsor me and I've been involved with them to private label products through them. We're selling Jealous Devil love rubs now, so it's pretty good. So pellets are fine, and the pros and cons, of course, of pellets are that sometimes people say that they don't give enough smoke, but in my videos I show you guys ways to overcome that, how to get the best possible result from pellet cookers. So let me pause here for a second here before we continue. Any questions so far?
What species of wood would you recommend for the pellets, though? I see so many different types of wood available though, on the pellets. Just
Yeah,
the pellet.
you can buy a wood blend, or you can buy kind of like one kind of wood. All pellets work under the same premise. They need BTU. The BTU is provided by oak. So all pellets, regardless of the nature, they usually have some base wood that has high BTU and smoke. Most of them contain a percentage of oak because oak provides the BTU. Then they add the flavoring wood. So you can add like apple, peach, pecan, you can add any kind of a cherry wood flavor. So it's really kind of up to the manufacturer to kind of see what type of wood blends work well for different kinds of meat. And then that's another 3-hour argument and Jerry Springer fist fight as to what kind of pellets are good. I've been using GMG Gold Blend for many years with great results. But I'm going to try out the Jacks to see if it works at all, and to see how it compares to my base choice, which is GMG Gold Blend. So I've been using it for many years. Let me keep going here. So next, number 12 is durability, and durability is important. So if you buy a pit, some pits that you buy, if you buy a charbroil from Home Depot, it's good for one summer at most before the whole thing falls apart. If you live in California, we don't have a lot of moisture and rain, so stuff doesn't rust. But if you live in other states where it's really like humid and wet, there's a chance that your pit won't last very long. And if you have a pit that's made of, let's say, steel, for example, like Winnie's got the offset, so the offset, needs TLC, and it has to be, what do you call, sort of painted over the years, and you have to kind of maintain your pit to keep it going. The nice thing about, like, I cook on Weber's. Weber's are enamel porcelain coated, fired in the factory. The finish and the durability on something like the Weber is really good because it does not flake, it does not chip, the finish won't come off. So if you buy certain kinds of smokers, some require more TLC, and also it depends on sort of the weather and the environment that you are cooking in. If it's dry, usually it's better. But if it's very wet and humid, rust is an issue. So durability is related to that. The other thing about durability is also obviously the construction of the unit. If you get like a pits and spits, it's built like a tank with like 3/8 or 1/4 inch steel. That thing will basically last forever. Some of the pits that are made, especially fabricated in China, they have very thin metal walls. They are kind of riveted together, not very sturdy. So durability wise, it also has to do with the construction and the materials. So usually you can tell from the price point. Usually when the price point is higher, they tend to not fall apart so easily. I would say that anything under like $200, usually you find like discount store like Home Depot. They're not built to last, but they do work and they fill the intended purpose, but it's not something you're gonna bequeath to your kids. So if you buy something like a PK, might cost you $500 for the tiny little grill, but that stuff is gonna last multiple generations. Okay. Next one is the temp range and ramp up, ramp down. So this is very big. If you're cooking food, you need to make sure that your pit can handle a wide range of temperatures. Searing happens at 600. Not all pits can reach 600. So if you have something like a pellet cooker, not all pellet cookers can hit 600, which is the right temperature for you to get a nice diamond grill marks on your steaks and so on, to get a 600-degree sear. At the same time, also the bottom temperature is very important because you want a pit that will cook kind of low and slow, and then also hot. Not many pits can do that. That's why folks like Weber and so on, they advertise their pits at running between 200 to 600. So that range of operational temperature is quite important when you're cooking barbecue, because you may want to start it low and slow, but you want to finish it kind of hot and seared at the end, or you want to start off searing first and then finish it low and slow at the end. So you want to make sure that the pit that you buy has that capability. And you also need to think about something called the ramp up time and ramp down. Again, using the offset example that Winnie has, her pit, a 500-gallon, needs a minimum of 1 hour just to warm up. So you really can't put your brisket on until you heat up the pit, because there's 500 gallons of metal to be heated up. So that's a consideration if you buy that kind of a pit. On my Weber kettle, this puppy heats up in basically 5-10 minutes. I'm ready to go in about 5 minutes. If I have an offset, I would have to warm the offset up for a long time, an hour at least. A lot of my friends who have offset, they run it at least 1 hour before they put any meat in, because it takes time for the entire piece of metal to heat up. And then after you heat it up, it takes a long time to cool down. So let's say if you want to push that back onto your trailer, you have a fire hazard. If your pit is super hot, you're putting it back on the trailer to take it home after a contest. Things like a Weber kettle, you just take away the coals, toss it in a ash bucket, and then the unit cools down, ready to transport in literally a few minutes. So something to think about is the temperature range that it operates in, the ramp up time and ramp down time. So that's a consideration. Next one is the 14, which is I call showmanship. So you guys seen my videos, I made a grill out of the watermelon. So that's more for showmanship. You've seen my Turbo Q video where I had that rotisserie spinning vane from the heat, that special pit that was built to me by a guy from Florida. So if you've never seen that Turbo Q, go check out the Turbo Q video. That's a really super cool pit. That's always a conversation piece whenever people come and they say, wow, what is that spinning thing with the little feast chicken in there? Because it's a novelty. Take it to a tailgate, take it to a potluck, and it's really a lot of fun to have a novelty type of pit. There's pits that do business, that do well. There are pits that do novelty. So like, for example, my Turbo Q cooks only one chicken. So obviously in a party, not so useful, but it does have that novelty factor. When you're sitting around with your poker buddies, having adult beverages, that's always a great conversation piece, right? So next one, 15, coming down to the last four. Okay, next one is my pet peeve. I'm a lazy pitmaster, so I don't like to clean. Some pits are notoriously difficult to clean, and it involves disassembling the whole unit and putting everything back together. And some pits have to be cleaned after every single cook, which is very annoying, right? So I like something that's easy to clean. Something like a Weber kettle is super easy to clean. You guys know that the Weber kettle has these little butterfly thingies. So all you need to do is, to clean it, you just move this back and forth. You can see the ash going down. There's a little vein in there that kind of sweeps it. So things like that, like the super easy way to clean your pit, are big boons to me. So that's why I like things as simple as a $150 kettle. It gets the job done, no problemo. When I clean my pellet grills, I have to remove the whole unit, clean the grates, take out the heat shield, clean the heat shield, clean the firebox underneath, and scoop out all of the ash. So a little bit of work, but it's up to you, how you like to clean your pits. Again, back to the offset, Weedie's got a 500 gallons. So when it comes time to clean her 500 gallons, she's got a few options. She can spray the inside out with the degreaser, use a hose to kind of clean it out, or she can kind of go in there and scrape everything off her inside of her 500-gallon pit. So ease of cleaning is a big thing for you. If you are like me, I'm a lazy pitmaster. I hate cleaning. I love cooking, but I don't like the cleaning part, right? Let's talk about spare parts. If you buy a pit and the pits have a lot of moving parts, you want to make sure that spare parts are available. So if you bought a kettle, kettle has been in production for 50, 60 years. So if you have a broken leg, broken wheel, broken grate, plenty of spare parts. But if you buy something a little bit more esoteric and you end up, needing a replacement part, the manufacturer has gone out of business, spare parts hard to find, then that's a problem. I'll give you an example. I bought one of those Kirkland gas grills that I've been using to teach my classes. They have stainless steel parts, right? And some of these stainless steel parts have worn out. And I just did the estimate to replace all the parts of the grill. So the replacement parts cost more than the actual grill. So I had to decide if you want to fix my old gas grill, replace the parts, pay a lot of money, or just go out to Costco and just chuck mine, just put a new one in. So those are things that you have to consider. I like Weber because Weber's been around for a long time. You have any part that's broken, you know, they'll warranty it, send you the replacement part. So that's really nice. So spare parts are something to consider, not the most important criteria, but something you want to think about. Number 17 is serviceability. Okay, serviceability is that some pits require TLC. For example, if you're a pellet cooker, the normal problems that a pellet cooker runs into, including things like called bridging. So bridging means that the pellets get stuck in the hopper. Now, this is not sometimes the fault of the design of the unit, but it has to do with the conditions you're in. So a lot of people cook in humid environments where it's wet, it's raining. Whenever moisture goes into the pellets, right? Remember those little rabbit food pellets are sawdust compressed together. So if there's moisture, sometimes the pellets will break down and then they will seize up in your pellet hopper. So you have something called a stuck auger or a bridge, they call it. So you have to break that up. So sometimes you have to remove the auger assembly on your pellet cooker to kind of get rid of all the sawdust that had formed because of it got wet or something. So for example, I'll give you an example. I left my pit out here. It rained in Southern California. Some of the water got into my pellet hopper and then got all the pellets kind of wet. So they kind of bound up into a clump. Then the unit was not usable. So you have to take apart the whole unit and take everything apart. So serviceability is important if you have that type of consideration. If you cook with Weber Smokey Mountain, there's no serviceability because you can just take apart the unit and just dump everything, clean everything, and put it back. If you have something like a drum smoker, no problemo. You have something like a Kamado, Big Unit, no problemo. If you have an offset, you just take it apart and just clean it. And in terms of the serviceability, if there's any broken parts, you just have it in place. So serviceability and the ability to reach into the pit is very important. It's kind of like, for those of you who do your own oil change, I know it's kind of, I'm dating myself when I say I used to change the oil in my car. Nobody does that anymore, but there was once a time when you own a car, you change your own oil. And then when you go reach into the engine compartment, you try to wrench off your oil filter. You don't have a special tool, you can't get it out. So serviceability is an important part. In a smoker, it's more applicable to electric operated smokers like a pellet cooker, okay? And then we're down to the last one, which is diversity. So diversity is kind of like how the world is, right? There are many human beings and there's 7.5, 8 billion of us. We all look different, right? We come from different backgrounds, different traditions. So for pits, some people like diversity, some people don't. I love diversity. I love every kind of pit out there, from the watermelon pit to the Kamado pit, to the pellet pit, to the offset. So I'm a pretty diverse guy. I love the rainbow of diversity that comes with barbecue equipment. Some people don't. Some people are purists. They say that, hey, if you don't cook with an offset, you're trash. You're nobody. Or people say, hey, my world is around pellets. I love the techno weenie convenience of cooking on a one button operated by cell phone type pit. So knock yourself out. So the diversity of your style is absolutely important. I know people who buy equipment, right, based on their belief system. I just had a client, I won't mention his name, but he lives in a very wealthy neighborhood in Los Angeles. He hired me as a personal chef to come and teach him on his equipment. His smokers were $50,000. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that they don't cook very well. But he bought it based on the brand. It was the most expensive, how should I say, beautiful smoker that you can buy for your home use. I'll give you a little clue. It's a company in Michigan, and it rhymes with Kalamazoo. Okay, so those are $25,000 grills and $25,000 smokers. And again, he bought it because he wants the best. He has a Lamborghini, he has a Porsche, and he has a multi-million-dollar home, and that's what he wanted. He says that I buy the best. So that's why he hired me to come and teach him a one-on-one class, because he bought the best equipment. Now he wants the best instructor, so he hired me. So the long story short is that the diversity or the kind of equipment that you buy, sometimes that overrules everything. And you just cannot say what's right and what's wrong, right? Because again, like I said, there's 7 billion of us on Earth. We all have different traditions and different styles, different preferences. Okay, so that's the 18 kind of high-level flyover of all the considerations. Of the 18, only you will know which one's important to you. So some people, the budget is not important. So whether it's $50 or $50,000 for smokers, they don't care because their criteria or their factors are weighted in some of the other areas. Some are quantitative, right? Numbers like square footage, capacity, weight. Some are qualitative. I like the zen of putting a log in every 40 minutes, and that's just what I like, and I'm gonna do what I like. So there you have it, a little bit of a flyover on the 18 considerations that you need to think about when you buy a pit. And then if my timing is perfect, my meat is ready to cook, to serve. Yep, see, look at that.
Hey, Harry,
Perfect, see, my timing is spot on today. Yes.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
It's actually a two-part question. So the first part is that one of the things that you did not talk about, which I think that everybody thinks about whenever they buy a smoker, outside of the realms of size and price point, is flavor. And do you have so the first part of the question is to you, which is, do you think that one smoker produces a distinctive flavor that you are looking for? You alluded it a little bit in your pellet statements, right? But do you think that having a stick burner is really going to be all that different? And my second part of that question is to Winnie, because she moved from basically the easiest thing you could possibly cook on to the hardest thing you can possibly cook on. Now, some of that might be due to motivation, but she certainly could have gone from a small pellet cooker to a large pellet cooker, which would be much more efficient and probably a lot less work. Is that part marketing or is it flavor?
Okay, I will answer your question, Donna, this way, that I will need multiple Zoom sessions to discuss the pros and cons of the different types of pits. Because like I said, on my channel, I have 400 videos, and in the videos, I explain to you kind of the strengths and weaknesses of the different pits out there. So a short answer is yes, the pit matters a lot. And your cooking style has to be modified to the pros and cons of your pit. So for example, right, your example here, pellet cookers traditionally have less smoke flavors, but there are multiple hacks you can use to get a championship result out of a pellet cooker. So my buddy, Doug Scheiding from Rogue Cookers in Texas, he won the world championship, which is the Houston Livestock and Rodeo. So he beat 427 teams to first place using a GMG Jim Bowie. Oh, Daniel Boone, I'm not sure. But he used a pellet cooker to beat the world champion. I have friends who have a offset. They are world champions using an offset. So my submission is that you have to really know how to use your equipment to get the best result. Yes, but I mean, the vast majority of us are just normal people. We're not barbecue champions, don't know how to cook, whatever, crazy. We just buy ordinary meats, right? In a grocery store, trying to cook on a regular smoker. So set aside from us being, Chris Lilly, there is an average profile that you can get, right? And so if you're jonesing for flavor. Yeah, that's why Traeger's and Weber decided to get into the pellet grain, because based on their market research of the population of America, what they have found is that the population that's buying equipment, spending money, are the younger people. So people below 30 years of old. So they want the convenience of cooking an entire barbecue meal, championship grade, using the automation of their cell phone. So to answer your question, pellet cooker is the way to make money if you want to be in the in the barbecue smoker business. You cannot survive or grow if you don't grow into that space. So that's the short answer to that. Can you get good championship flavor out of a automated pellet cooker? The answer is yes. That's why the innovation that's occurring in barbecue is happening in the realm of pellet cookers. It's not happening in the realm of offsets, because offsets design, right, has remained the same for pretty much the last 50 years or so. There've been no innovative design. The latest innovative design offset was the Lewis curve. The Lewis curve is what you see in Heritage Barbecue, when you see the little bulbous extension on the draft end, the exhaust end of the pit. So to answer your question, yes, there are many differences in the pits. I will give you my best take is there is no perfect pit. So there is no one pit out there that can produce good result or bad result. It's really, in my opinion, up to the pitmaster. If you go to the World Championship barbecue contest around the world, let's say you go to Jack Daniels, you go to Lenexa, you go to Houston Livestock and Rodeo, you go to American Royal. If you look at the top 20 teams who win, what you will notice is the diversity of equipment. So if you are a skilled pitmaster, the equipment doesn't matter. But if you're a home cook, the equipment does matter. Because if you are not a skilled cook and you can barely boil water, my recommendation would be to get something like a Weber kettle or get a pellet cooker. And any brand is fine. You know, most of the pellet cookers work really well. I had a lot of good success with the Grilla grills. That's about $600. I had a lot of success with the pits and spits. That was $2,200. So the equipment is kind of based on kind of your skill level. And if your skill level is low, I believe that a pellet cooker is not a bad choice. That's why, you know, they sell so many Traegers and so many Green Mountains, because that's kind of where the market segment is most focused on in terms of selling lots and lots of pits, making a profit for a corporation. So hopefully that answers your question, Donna. Good question.
Thank you, Harry.
All right. So we have the tri-tip here. Can you guys see this? It's in frame here. Okay, so here's the tri-tip. It's got the achoite rub here. And all I did was a little bit of Slap Your Daddy rub, achoite paste, chipotle paste, and garlic. Traditionally, tri-tip is found in Santa Maria. For those of you who are watching this session from other parts of the country, when you say barbecue in California, it's actually tri-tip. So tri-tip is kind of like a boomerang shaped muscle like that. It is found near the bottom sirloin, near the groin area of the cow. It is a muscle that's covered in a lot of sinew and kind of silver skin or fascia. And then when you buy it trimmed, they trim everything off. If it's not trimmed, you have to trim off the silver skin and the fascia and the excess fat from the tri-tip. So you trim it down to the base meat like this. Now, what is interesting about this tri-tip is that the muscles actually run this way. The grains are running this way. So if this was like a stealth fighter flying through the sky, right, this is a stealth fighter like that, the grains are running this way. So you have to really slice it 90 degrees against the grain, which is like this, okay? 90 degrees against the grain like that. So that's counterintuitive because a lot of people slice tri-tip, they just slice it this way like that, which is kind of wrong. So I'm gonna show you guys how to slice the tri-tip. So in case you're wondering what kind of knife this is known as a Delstrong Devastator. This is a 27-ounce knife. And this is a manly man, manly woman, I don't know what you call it. But I kind of love this knife. I took on a Delstrong challenge. So Delstrong's my knife sponsor. So they said that, Harry, would you like to try this 12.5-inch chef knife? And I said, of course. What did I say? Yes. And I've been living with this knife for 30 days now. And the title of the video I'm going to be posting is, I live with the Devastator for 30 days. I did not kill myself, because this is a really, really
sword.
Heavy knife. It's a sword. It's actually like one of those Rambo killing swords. But I love it because I've used it to slice carrots. I've used it to chop chicken, slice sashimi. I use it as a yinagiba. I use it as a deba. I use it as nakiri. I use it as a chef knife, utility knife, everything. So I actually have been living this for 30 days and it's kind of well worn. I use it a lot of my cooking for the past 30 days. And I really kind of enjoy this knife because it kind of reminds me of a Chinese chopper. So for those of you who have seen Chinese cooking videos, the Chinese chefs typically only use one knife, which is a big Chinese chopper. So this has elements of a Chinese chopper. It has elements of a slicer. It's really fantastic for slicing brisket. So I'm going to give a little demo here to show you guys how we slice a tri-tip. As I mentioned, it's kind of like a boomerang. So the first thing, the boomerang, is you got to make sure that you cut it into 3 pieces like that, down this way. It's pretty good.
Wow,
Medium rare. yeah, I'm surprised all my talking and I ended up cooking it. And it was pretty much perfect, nice char. So you can see I've separated into 3 pieces, right? So because the grains are running this way, you can see that the grains are running this way like that, right? So I don't want to slice it this way because I need to slice it against the grain. So I'm going to slice it this way like that.
They should market that knife as a fish cutter. That would be great.
Yeah, see, look at that. So you can see it's nicely sliced against the grain. And this is about kind of a 138, which is medium rare. I cook it to warm, medium, pink center. You can cook it less if you want. For example, like this part here is a little bit more rare. Hope you can see that here. So absolutely gorgeous. And I'm gonna take a bite of this here. Wow. I wish you were here. So that chipotle paste, show you the paste here, is an easy way to get flavor into your tri-tip. So Winnie, if you want to try this and try to create a winning tri-tip recipe, there's a secret here for you. So that's already worth the price of admission in this session here. These stuffs are not very expensive. They're like I think about maybe $14 each, but there's a lot of product here, and you can cook a lot of tri-tip this way. And you can marinate a whole bunch of tri-tip instead of trying to grind the chili yourself, which is a very laborious. You just use some of this paste and then you kind of put it over your meat and let it soak overnight. And you can marinate it 2-3 days in advance. It does not have a lot of salt, so you can add a little bit of salt or a little bit of rub. But this absolutely fantastic color. You see here, color of the meat here. All right.
Wow.
So beautiful color, mahogany color. And the ancho flavor is fantastic. So I like chipotle for the heat. I like the ancho for the chile flavor. I think it's guajillo and probably pasilla chili in there. So you can grind your own pasilla and guajillo, but it's just too much work. TMW, too much work. So I am always looking for shortcuts, and I find that you can get a really, really good result. Let me open up the inside and show you guys how the inside looks like here. Here's how the paste looks like. This is not so spicy, and this is spicy. So when I combine the chipotle and the ancho, I think it's a winning flavor. Okay, so that's kind of how it is. So I see some comments going through. I can't see on my phone, but somebody asked a question. Donna asked a question. What's some kind of curve thing?
Oh, so your knife has a curved edge, more like a chef knife, rather than a traditional slicer, which has a flat bottom, which is what I prefer.
Yeah, this part is flat. This part here, like that.
No, straight. Yeah, that's not long enough.
Trust me, right? When I slice a brisket, you see my brisket video, this thing goes through like a knife like butter. It's got a fantastic weight, and you can see, right, one slice. You see that? You see this? Look at that. This is like one like butter. See?
I prefer my tri-tip to be sliced very, very thin.
Okay.
No, see, look, I don't like that. I don't like
don't
that.
like that?
No. Okay. It's not a clean cut, right?
You can tell, right?
A flat edge. We argue all day long. It's like this all day long.
Yeah, so most couples on a Saturday night, right, will discuss what movie to watch, what restaurant to go to. We will argue about the thermal death curve of the E. coli bacteria pathogen. So this is what happens. So honey, just look at it. It's pretty thin, right? Look, it's kind of thin. It's pretty good.
It's ugly. No, do a better job.
Yeah. So Donna lives in San Francisco. I live in Los Angeles. So we're in a long distance relationship. So we have to travel back and forth to see each other. So I'll just for kicks and giggles, I'll bring my little Rambo knife to cook with her the next time I see her. So this is something that if you guys have never tried a 12-inch chef knife, I think somebody said that it won't fit in the kitchen drawer. Yes, it will not fit in the kitchen drawer. You need a really big kitchen drawer to fit this knife. But I've been living with it for a month now, and I have to say I've grown to enjoy it. And I've not cut myself or killed myself on this knife, but it is a beautiful knife. In case you guys are interested in getting something special for yourself, with COVID, right? We're trying to do things to entertain ourselves, and I've been really entertaining myself with this knife here. It's just a superb job. Let me show you again. It cuts like butter. See, it's just like butter. See, just like that. So what happens is the curved edge I thought was not usable, but when I actually tried to use it, that whole action of the cut, right? Like that. See that little kind of a motion. It's like ballet. It's like a knife ballet where you just slice through and the meat comes off beautifully. So actually, I found that the curved edge, right, was a good design feature because I thought a flat edge would cut better. But for cutting meat, right, it follows the slicer, like, in a butcher shop, you have a slicer. So this one is like a butcher shop knife. Look at that. Yeah, I just glide my knife through like that. See, it goes all the way through and a clean cut, just like that. See. So somebody asked me what series this is. I think it's the Dalstrong. Yeah, it says here. Let me see here. You see, guys, see Dalstrong Gladiator right there.
Harry,
So
how
if you
much
guys,
is that knife?
I don't think it's very expensive. I don't know. Somebody go on Amazon and check the price, but it's not very expensive. And among all the knives that I have, I want to say I've never lifted the 12-inch chef knife. This is 27 ounces. I know because I weighed it. That's really, really heavy. But that heft feels really good when you're cutting. And I've cut carrots with it. I've cut potatoes with it. I've cut a whole bunch of stuff with it. It actually does work. And then that whole curved edge, right? When you cut it, it has really a nice rocking motion. I know this session is not meant for knives, but I just am having a good time using this knife. And then it's like a Zen, right? You look at it. See, when I slice it, look at that. I start from this end. I push gently using the weight on the knife. And then when I reach the end, I'm done. Look at that. Just one cut. And the
Harry,
meat falls off.
I noticed the hump on the top. Is it for weight distribution, or what do you think? The top of the knife, the hump on where your left hand is touching. Yeah.
This one here? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like it's
so
curved.
this part here, I think it's part of the design. So this allows for even weight distribution. The handle is pretty hefty. So I'll show you the handle here. So the handle is very hefty, but all in all, right, I would say it's really well balanced. When you hold this right here, this is very smooth. This edge is very well finished. The spine is very well finished. And then you can see that the blade is very, very thick, but it tapers down to about 15 degrees. So it's got the best of both worlds. It's got a 15-degree Japanese angle. It's also got the heft of a machete. So it's like a Rambo machete / Unagi bar, which I think is, I never expected that I would like it, but I've cooked it 30 days and I haven't cut myself, and it's absolutely fantastic, because when I slice meat, right, I'm just amazed at the weight of the knife slicing through, right? And one cut, the 12.5-inch cut sliced right through the meat. See, just like that. No effort at all. Like sometimes on my chef knife, I'm using my slicer. I have a Grafton H slicer, a 12-inch slicer. I have to keep sawing my slicer back and forth to cut my brisket. But now when I cut my brisket, right, I just put my knife on, and then the actual slice of brisket just falls off in the 12 inches. So I think that my Unagi bar is about 12 inches, which is a sushi knife, for those of you who are not aware what a Unagi bar is. So what I learned is that this knife has the aspects of a Unagi bar, which is a sushi knife for cutting fish, as well as a slicer, as well as a chef knife. So it's kind of like 3 knives in one. And what is amazing to me, when I cut brisket, I just start with the brisket on one end, I push the knife over to the other end, my brisket slice comes off. So Winnie, if you want to try, you can borrow my knife and slice your brisket for your business and see if this is the ultimate brisket knife. Because
I'm about to go on Amazon to order it.
No, borrow his knife.
Yeah, borrow my knife first, and then you see if you like it, because knife is a very personal thing. I always believe, like a pit, right? So before you buy a pit, right, find a friend, go cook on their friend's pit, and see if you can live with it, because you may not like it. And I cook on a lot of pits, so I have my preferences. Some pits I like when I am in the mood for more work, but some days when I'm super lazy, a pellet cooker works. So it depends on your preference. So knives are kind of like pits, right? You just pick one that kind of suits your purpose. But Winnie, if you want, you can borrow my knife. You in Los Angeles, right?
No, I'm in Orange County, Fullerton, like down the freeway.
Oh yeah, Fullerton. Yeah, I'm just next door. I'm in Diamond Bar. Yeah. So if you're interested, you're welcome to borrow this knife, take it home and give it a shot.
Okay, I will.
See, this turned out to be a knife video.
Harry, I have a tangential question about the grilling and accessories. How do you have a hack as to be able to cook fish on a grill you normally cook meat and pork without having to scrub the grates clean, the flavor,
Yeah,
Anything
a kettle is fine. A kettle is not gonna have any problem. So if you cook fish on a kettle, and I prefer not to smoke fish in a pit. I smoke brisket and butt. That's all. So fish usually you want to cook fast, and like a kettle is fine. So cook your fish on a kettle. Cook your hot dogs on a kettle. The pit that you use to cook brisket and butt, just make sure that you don't cook fish in it. I prefer not to, because I don't like to clean my pit.
Do you use a separate grate, or do you do anything with your grate for the fish, or do you just scrub it afterwards?
Yeah, I just scrub it clean.
Clean off
The fish cooks in 8 minutes, right? So it's not that long. So fish doesn't take a long time to cook. And I cook a lot of my fish on my kettle, and that's fine. No problem at all.
Thank you.
Okay. So while you guys are talking, I'm gonna slice the rest of the meat here. You know, I cannot describe the wonderful sensation of slicing meat with a good knife. I think for those of you who are out there who understand what I'm saying, right? One push, right? One push and the meat comes out. Look at that. One push, right? All the way. And it's just beautiful. I just love it. All right. Do we have any final questions before we conclude? I know we ran kind of over. It's supposed to be a 1 hour session, but we're running into an hour and a half. But hopefully you guys got some useful information out of this session here.
Have you ever considered getting? I know Weber makes a rotisserie for the grills. Have you ever considered getting one? And
yes, you have a gas grill, or you have the Summit?
I have just a regular kettle.
Yeah, kettle. Yeah,
for it.
I believe that there are a number of people who sell the rotisserie, right?
I think so. I think they run about $150, give or take, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the choice of rotisserie is kind of up to you. If you want kind of a, you know, are you using the rotisserie to get a certain kind of flavor, or you just like the feel of the meat going around in circles?
That's an experiment for me. It's an ongoing process on that. Instead of using getting my Kamado Joe up to temperature, not really wasting fuel, but just the whole drawback, like we said earlier, it just takes time to warm up the grill, all that stuff. So if I want to cook a chicken, within the hour, instead of waiting for my Kamado to warm up for half an hour, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you would basically get a gas grill.
Yeah.
That would be really fast. And you can use a pellet cooker. Pellet cooker heats up really, really fast. And those are the two. What do you have? You have a Kamado, and what else?
I have a Kamado Joe and a Costco edition of a Traeger. I haven't used a Traeger in a while, and also have a Weber kettle, like the one you have.
Yeah, again, I you know me, I like toys, so I'm always going to say yes to toys. So a rotisserie is fine. You just have to make sure that you have electrical outlet nearby, because you have to find a place to plug it in. So if you're in the backyard, make sure that you're near an outlet. I find that rotisseries will tend to cook evenly. So depending on how you control the heat, that circular motion results in if you cook chicken, I think chicken cooks really well on the rotisserie, very, very even color.
That's true. I've seen people do ribs on rotisseries, and I haven't done a tri-tip. Actually, that'd be pretty interesting, doing a tri-tip on a rotisserie. But
yeah, you just have to make sure that you fasten it properly and it's balanced, right? But you can have a lot of fun with rotisserie. I can see cooking what do you call, like a pork loin. You can do also like a porchetta. You know what a porchetta is, right? It's a kind of what do you call, beef pork belly. Roll on the outside, roll into a roll, and then you put in rotisserie and you spin it around. That will be absolutely delicious, to do. So knock yourself out. Yeah, get yourself a rotisserie. Life is short, right? Buy all the toys that you want, right? That's always good. Look at this thing; it's so beautiful. You see this here? So, medium rare. Right, gorgeous piece of meat here. Take a shot here. Yeah, the choite. I'm just very impressed. The choite flavor is very good. If you like a chile flavor, kind of like this, will actually make very good tacos. Delish. Yeah, so these are my two favorite toys to play with now. The chipotle and ancho.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that out one day. We got a couple of those. What are they called? Like, where you go in, kind of like you buy food in bulk, not like a cost. Like,
Yeah, Restaurant Depot. Yeah, I believe you can buy this in Restaurant Depot. The Restaurant Depot I go to is the one near Catella. I think Winnie should know. Winnie, you know the one in Catella, off the 57 freeway. That's Restaurant Depot there. You can check out.
yeah, there's a couple here where I live at.
Yeah, you can go. Like I say, when I go to a store, I love to go to different sections and then look at different products out there. I think that there's a tremendous potential cooking food using different kinds of bases, and I have a whole bunch of bases I'm also trying out because I'm always looking to supercharge flavors, creating that championship result, and not spending a lot of time in prep because for home folks, prep, to me is not efficient. It takes a lot of time. Like when I made my birria episode, I made the chile from scratch. Okay, fine. I used 9 kinds of chile because I wanted a complex flavor. But there is a trade-off, right? If you see my Gayang video, I went to Walmart and I bought 3 ingredients. And I did the Thai way with 12 ingredients. So at the end of the day, when you eat the chicken, I have to say that the Walmart version with 3 ingredients was pretty good. So you can stick to tradition and have fun cooking it the traditional way with a lot of prep, complex prep, or you can do shortcut. And I know for me, if I can get the same result, I'm too lazy. I'll switch to the shortcut method. If you run a restaurant, you run a catering business, then that's an important consideration because your labor cost with additives running you about $23 an hour. So the question is, do you want to go pay somebody to go spend hours sitting behind the stove making your chili paste from scratch? Or you want to buy a tub for $14 and that is barely like 35 minutes of labor to get a tub, and one tub will cook a lot of meat, and then you're going to get the same result at the end. So, you do the math and then you guys tell me what's best for your style of cooking.
Hey, Harry, I have a question regarding capacity on these offset smokers.
Okay, you have one or you're going to buy one?
No, I have an offset smoker, and it's like a cabinet style smoker. And I don't understand why some of these like barbecue people don't buy these types of smokers, and they buy.
I see a picture. You have this is what brand is this?
It's a Lone Star Grills offset smoker, and it's got like four shells and stuff. So, I mean, you can fit like 16 briskets in this thing. So, I don't understand sometimes why people don't buy these types of cookers instead of the like the barrel type of cookers. Because
it's I told you it's tribalism, right? So the critique of the Lone Star is that it doesn't have enough draft.
Oh, I see.
So remember I told you earlier, I say the torpedo shape, the way the thermodynamic calculation works. That's why if you talk to Franklin, right, he's very obsessed about his 1,000 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
He has a smokestack that's 1/3 8-inch versus the length of the smoker because the draw is very important. So when you guys watch my channel, right? One of the most important parameters in barbecue is called the draft. The draft is the hot convective airflow over the meat. So if your chimney is here, your firebox is here, you want the air to flow over your meat and out through the chimney. The vacuum of the chimney, thermodynamically, is the one that draws the air over your food. Right. So people who are cooking in offsets, they insist on that kind of a arrangement where the smokestack is sucking air out, and then the air is being drawn through the cooking chamber over the food evenly. They don't want the meat to be stacked up as it goes through. And if the chimney is not tall enough, the bore of the chimney is not sufficient, there's not enough draw. So again, right, like I said, everything in barbecue is a 3-hour argument and Jerry Springer fist fight. There is no right and there's no wrong. If you're getting championship results, you're using a particular method, a particular kind of piece of equipment, and you're getting championship result, don't change. Like I won 100+ first places, 30 grand championship using something like a Weber Smokey Mountain. I go to contests. I cook like the king of the smoker in Palm Springs, and I'm up against 25 of the best teams in the world. I finished like 3rd. using a Weber Smokey Mountain against 9 jambos. Okay, for those of you not aware what a jambo is like a Lamborghini offset pit. Yeah, the paint job alone is $5,000. Okay, the paint job. Okay, so again, at the end of the day, it's all about the pit master and never the pit. Once you master your pit, just like I've mastered my pits, and I can cook a competition grade brisket on my Weber smoke fire. I can cook a competition brisket on my kettle. I can cook a competition brisket on my Daniel Boone, right? It's all about the pit master. And I hope that in watching my videos and following me on the internet, you have learned something, that it's never about the pit. It's always the pit master. Or in this case, pit mistress. Is that such a thing? Is it? I want to be gender neutral. So,
all right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any final questions before we wrap up here? Okay. Well, with that, thank you so very much for joining me on this Zoom session talking about how to pick a pit. I hope the 18 factors that I shared with you will be useful to you. Now, at least you start with the framework. You can look at the 18. I would recommend you just check the ones that are important to you, and then use 3 out of the 18 to guide you in your choice of your selection of your pit. And then once you make that decision, right, do me a favor, send me an email and let me know what you end up buying. And then Winnie, as soon as your copper offset pit shows up, can you share a picture, please?
Sure. Actually, it's gonna be delivered on Friday. We're gonna season it. So you're welcome to come hang out if you're here in Southern California.
Oh, which Friday? Coming Friday?
Mm-hmm.
This is in Fullerton, next door to me. Okay.
Yes, off of Imperial.
Okay, send me an email at harsoo@yahoo.com, and then I'll see how my Friday's calendar looks there, and then come and
Sure.
do a what do you call unboxing? Is there such a thing called unboxing?
Unboxing. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's gonna come in a box, but definitely a 500-gallon offset is an impressive piece of equipment. It's almost like my knife.
Yes.
All right, everybody. So with that, thank you for joining. I will. I'll post the highlights of this for those who were not able to attend. Hopefully, this information will be useful to all the other patrons out there also.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye.